All right, welcome. We had a little bit of technical difficulty there, but you know what? We're back on and we're ready to rock and roll. So today we are going to talk a little bit about kayak crates and storage, why there's so many of them, and what they are like and what they are. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we also got a special guest coming on that's going to jump in on that topic there. But first off, welcome to the Paddle and Fin Network, also to the final cast. It's not always the final cast, but it's the final cast show. Welcome you to this. Man, it's the fifth episode already this year. It seems like it's going by really, really quick. And I just want to thank you guys for joining us. If you are joining us for the first time, drop us a message over in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching, where you're at, and where you've been hanging out with us, and we will get to you. So first off, welcome to the final cast. Man, I love that intro. It makes you just want to get up and jump around. So this week we're going to be talking a little bit about kayak storage and kind of the one major topic and the one major piece of equipment that everybody has in their kayak, and that is the kayak crate. That is a very common piece of equipment that everybody has in their kayak that they're using because it has rod holder storage, bait storage, other storage that you can add to it. There's many other different concepts, but everything based back to the original when you first started into the kayak industry and you were trying to figure out what you wanted to do as a kayak, you realized quickly that there wasn't a lot of storage on these things. These plastic boats are awesome to get you in locations and get you into the place of where you want to go and find those big fish, but you just didn't have enough storage to get your gear there. So companies have created the infamous kayak crate or the blackback by Yak Attack or the um, flambeau crate that they have out there. And there's a lot of things that just kind of stem from the original milk crate idea. And we all know what a milk crate is. That's a milk crate that you go to the grocery store, you go behind it, you look real fast, you grab one, and you take it and you roll. It's just how it works. It's just how it is. I know it. I know it's illegal to do, but you do it anyway, and you get your first crate on your kayak, and you kind of just start doctoring it, doing your DIY, making it the way you want it to be. You put little footers on it, raise it up off the deck, put some rod holders on it, put some space in there. Maybe you put a lid on it, but you create this box, this case, this crate that you want to have move your stuff around. So that's how it kind of all started. I started for me that way. I started with just a regular black crate that I had in the garage. Started doctoring it up, made it work, kind of figured it out. Then I was able to afford one of the other crates. And it's kind of like how you go through the progression in the industry. You start at the bottom, you do some DIY stuff, you save up, you buy those pieces of equipment. And you know what? My wife has always told me this over the last 16 years is you buy cheap, you buy twice. I've said that a lot to other people. You buy cheap, you buy twice, and you kind of reap what you sow. If you start with something and you're kind of doing it on your own, you're going through the heartache, you're figuring it out, you're doing some R&D, you're doing some maneuvering, you're changing this and you're changing that, and you know what? There's already companies that kind of figured it out. So you kind of make a transition from that kayak crate into the kayak milk crate into a more sophisticated crate. And what that crate has to offer is you got name brands backing it, and so they've done all the hard work. They've done all the R&D, all the reflecting. They put it through its paces, so they know what's going to break, what's not going to break, what's going to happen, and how it's going to be. And when you go through those processes, obviously the price is a little bit higher. But you know what? When you buy cheap, you buy twice. So when you have the opportunity to make a jump from a DIY crate box to more of what is out on the market, then you start to get inundated with all the different ones that are out there. But they're not too much different than what you had. When you have your crate and you're creating it, you're putting a lid on it, you're putting dividers in it, you're putting rod holders on it, you're putting spacers on it to lift it up off the deck. You're doing everything that these companies have kind of already figured out how to make their crate. And you go through the progression. So throughout the years, Yak Attack had the black pack, and that was like the thing, the black pack with the solid black walls and like all the the like starboard. It's what it looked like, and it had everything was right there, custom cut and pieces. You got it in a box, you put it together, and then you added the rod holders that came with it that you can order and have it. And then you had this box, and it was just like a lid that wasn't like on there securely. Then they created some hinges, so you could add hinges to it, and then it made it a little bit more secure. And when you started to go through progression, you're starting to look around and going like, I've already had this. It's the same thing as the original, and it's true. It is, and they just created something a little bit more durable, sturdy. There's some product testing that's gone into it, so it's like going to last you a lot longer. And don't get me wrong, it does. And then you also have a different price point, so it's not free anymore. You're now in a certain dollar amount. But over the years, companies have started to create their own, and that's where when it comes to the pack is that it's just an how do I want to say that? I want to say I'm treading lightly because I want to make sure that I always have I always have everybody's companies in mind here. When you do that, it's just creating something that is just this like the same thing over and over again. And when I call it when you do the same thing over and over again, it's chaos. Not it's not something that is supposed to happen, but other companies create it. So like when Wilderness came out with their pack, their kayak crate, they created something that had a open lid, and also the rod holders. Now they can tilt back a little bit. Then they had a sub lid on top of it, and so you had a lot of different other things that kind of go into the kayak. And now they're made it where it's a little elongated, so it fits in other kayaks. Um, and you have the opportunity. And the reason why I say this, everybody, I've had them all. I started with a DIY. I've had all the original Wilderness ones. I've had the Black Pack. I had the new one. I've had them all. I've had the Flambeau. I've been in all of them. And what it comes down to is what it is that you like most about a certain brand, the style, and the way it works out. But they're all the same. Nowadays they have an addition where you can add a lid on it. Then you have a sub compartment where it's got a lid on top, and that sub compartment can open up and opens to the big compartment. Um, Yak Attack has the brand new unit where you can like a molly system, and you can add another little box to the side of it. You can add little pouches. You could do so many different things. You can angle your rods in 360 different directions, so you have all these opportunities. But everything is still a true testament of what it was when you started at DIY. And when you were back in DIY, it gives you that sense of like kind of going backwards a little bit. You got to go back to your roots. You go full circle a little bit. I'm kind of going through that now. I'm going through with my son, and we're creating what we want to do on our kayaks now. What do we want to have? What's going to be a useful tool? What's going to be the next thing that he's going to want on his kayak? Or how can he figure out how to do it on his own without spending a lot of money doing it DIY? Or if he has the money, which brand, which unit does he go with? And it's all and they said it best. Dean said it the best is it's all about what fits in your kayak. So sometimes you have that wider area where you can drop a big old Black Pack Pro right down in there, or you can use a regular milk crate because it's a smaller size. And you know, as we transition into the industry, there's not much that is different. Yeah, you may have patent where you got one certain way, but then another company does it differently, and they put their holes in a different spot. It's just mind-boggling what it goes into creating things for companies and trying not to be the same, but a little bit different, so you're not tacking onto somebody's copyright, or you're wanting to create something new in the industry. And when it comes to the crate itself, it's transitioned from one area, and that is the old school milk crate. That's the way it started. If you don't have the funds to buy a lot of things, and you just got your kayak, or you've got a budget kayak that got you out on the water, congratulations, you're getting on the water. Now it's time to start figuring out what you want to do. Do you want to have a crate? Do you want to have those things? And kayak storage is the prime real estate on our kayaks that is like we hold near and dear to our hearts. Like, you want to make sure you have everything in the right place. You want to have it in the right spots. You want to make sure you have the um, the rod holders facing the right direction, so you don't have to do all this moving and taking things out all the time. But at the same time, you want to make sure you have the gear that you need. And so with that, Flambeau, Yak Attack, other companies out there started creating the Kayak Crate, and storage is king for us. So when you get down to it and you're trying to figure out what you're wanting to do as an individual into this industry and into this niche, you can start to figure out, hey, okay, I can afford so and so. That's great. If you can't, then how can I go about doing it? Look on YouTube. There's a gazillion videos out there about how to create a crate out of a milk crate, and to do it very well. I had one for 2 years that I loved because I watched the video and I made it to where it was the right specs and raised everything up and put rod holders on it and did what I needed to do. So you can do that. Or you can go right to one of the biggest manufacturers. You can go to Yak Attack and buy it, boom, and then start creating it. And just know that every time you go to add something, it's going to cost you more money. It's going to ask you another attachment. It's going to cost you something else. More rod holders, going to cost you something else. And so you have to kind of like figure out your way of what you're wanting to do in the industry. And trust me, you don't have to have the biggest and best product out there to still win tournaments. You can win with a basic kayak. You can win with just a kayak and one rod and go out there and spank everybody at a tournament. Why? I've seen it happen. It happened in Florida for us. You always can win tournaments by just being basic also. But at the same time, when you start traveling around, it's easier for storage. You can grab everything in one go, boom, drop it in a kayak, take off. You can put everything on the kayak. You have it already down at the water, start setting everything up, boom, you're ready to go. Not like having to do everything in one piece at a time, walk back and forth to the thing. So there is a lot of options that you can do, but just realize that everything comes from a base somewhere, whether it's your baits, whether it's your fishing rod, whether it's the kayak crate, everything stems from something just increased better. And so as we start to transition into this industry where we're starting to get a large influx of new anglers coming into the industry now, everything comes from the beginning. I'm going to bring in one of the original OGs here in a minute. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but I want to tell everybody first, as you go and you get ready to start planning about your events and start doing certain things, go over Tourney X, register for the Dale Hollow event. Welcome everybody, Mr. Brian. How you doing, Mr. OG Schiller?
Man, I was just jamming out.
We always have good music. Tell us real quick. Give us your pitch real fast for Dale Hollow. Why we got everybody kind of going?
Oh, dude.
On the spot. That's what I did.
It's a camaraderie, man. There's the tournament aspect, but beautiful body of water. Just great people. I know there's a few of them in the chat that are going to be there that are always people I look forward to seeing. It's just one of those events, man. It's just, like I said, you got that tournament aspect, but at the same time, you got that laid back feel where everybody's, feeling good and just kicking back, relaxing, having a good time. Big fish are caught. I think last year, the guy that won, because we always have a big fish pot, I think he took home like freaking $5,000.
Didn't he take it for both days?
Yeah, both days. And both days his stringer was all smallmouth. And I think his big smallmouth was like 20 and a half, 21 or something. I see Mike in in the chat. He says, "There's I'm trying to pull it up, and you're trying to pull it up." Yeah, the atmosphere, man. It's just always a great time, you know. So, but you only got me for like 15 minutes, bro,
Yes.
because I got
So
another podcast to do in a whole different realm.
totally different realm. He's going into the hobby world. He's going to be hanging out with airplanes and doing all the fun stuff with the RC. So we're going to make sure we get his full attention. So tell you've kind of been at the beginning of when kind of everything has happened. We started out with the good old school milk crate back in the day. I mean, like everybody has almost done it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I think I
transitions.
went milk crate briefly. Actually, I take that back. I didn't even use a milk crate at first.
How dare you?
I think I had like a Plano tackle bag. That's right. I had a Plano tackle bag, and I built a PVC like rod holder thing that like, so my first kayak was an Ascend FS12 or whatever the heck it was, and had like the PVC come up, and then it had 6 rod holders, and then I had a tackle bag in the back.
Was that like in the original rod holders?
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuck into
Okay.
that. And then when I got into my bonafide, whatever you want to call it, I had the original black pack forever. And then I went to a Yak Gadget crate, and I still have that crate currently.
Still
So,
rocking the Yak Gadget crate. Look at you.
dude, there's many reasons why I like that crate versus like a black pack or something like that. But yeah, man, I was listening to you before I jumped on here, and you're exactly right. You're going to start somewhere. Do you go all in at first? Whatever. I mean, I was watching the chat. I even dropped some questions in the chat because I knew I was jumping on. But it doesn't matter really where you start. If your budget affords you, go all out. If not, I mean, like I said, I went to the Home Depot. At the time I was in construction, I probably had half that PVC in my garage and made that rod rack. Like, and that's the beauty of kayaks. And I think that's why I originally fell in love with it, was because like there's so much DIY stuff. And granted, like there's so many companies out there now that have made those products that guys were making in their garage, right? But
Right.
to me, that's the funnest part, is just rigging out your boat the way it fits you and the way you want to do things.
So
So
tell me, you said that you still kind of use that certain crate for a reason. What is some of the nuances of the crate that is important to you? Because for me, a crate is completely different. Like I use it completely different than probably you use it.
yeah, the biggest thing for me with the Yak Gadget crate versus some of the other ones is the thing I love about it is your 3600 boxes tilt towards you instead of having to like look over and into whatever your crate is to see what you're grabbing. That was the biggest thing for me. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a black pack, there's nothing wrong with a Flambeau or
Right.
Plano or whatever you want to use, right? Like, but for me, that was the easiest thing, was like the grab and go of grabbing tackle boxes, because I'm one of those guys like, all right, I didn't get bit in these 4 casts, so I'm I'm cutting off and retying. So like for me, that was one of the biggest things. And I got 8 rod holders on that thing, so I got the 4 in the back and 2 on each side. My
Mhm.
backpack back in the day, I think I had 3, 2, and 2 or something like that. I
Yeah.
forget, but I saw Mike said something about he always takes 12 rods, and I used to be the same thing. I used to pack everything in my kayak. It was so stupid, and I'd use like 2 rods the whole day and maybe 3 bags of plastics and some terminal tackle and maybe some jigs or
Well,
crankbaits, whatever.
you know what? You raised a really good thing because, like, Michael and yourself, and I think I've done it even in the past, especially when it comes to a tournament. You always
Let's
want
be
to make sure
honest, we've all done it.
you have all of your rods behind you. You look like a battleship going on back there, and then you end up using like that one rod and one bait the
Right,
entire day.
right.
Well, so then you go into okay, maybe I need to downsize a little bit. Maybe I need to
Right.
go from this massive pack down to something smaller, so you kind of
Right.
figure out your fishing style and the way you are, to the point to where I now, like you, I had the rod holders that was in the rod holders. I had the 4 or 5 right behind me and right behind the
Yep.
seat, and custom made PVC pipe. And then I ripped it out of there, and then I used the black pack for a while, and then got away from that. But then I even narrowed that down even farther to where it was like maybe 3 rod holders only on
Sure.
the pack, but you figure that out as you work your way through these things. And
Yeah.
we have so much DIY customability for a
Mhm.
lot of things. I mean, even if you go to the store right now, you go to your local kayak shop, you buy a brand new Yak Attack pack, with the Molly system and everything in it, you're going to customize that to the way you want it.
Right.
And
Right.
so you buy a flambeau, same thing. You're gonna add a couple rod holders to it. You're gonna customize it the way you want it. Add some things, add some dividers, do things, but everything leads it back to that feeling of DIY, going
Yeah.
back to the beginning.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I think my Yak Gadget crate comes with 6 rod holders, but I added 2 more to make it 8 just because I was like, "I need 8 rods, bro," you know? And that's the thing, like, nowadays, I'm a washed up tournament guy, like, I don't really do it anymore, but I do occasionally, but I got to the point where, like, I was loading all this crap in my boat every morning at the boat ramp, and uh, like we talked about it, I'd only use 1 or 2 rods. So, like, I still load the crap out of my boat when I'm out pre-fishing for a tournament, but come
Right.
tournament day, I was like, "Wait a minute, all this extra weight slows me down," and blah, 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 blah. So I kinda narrowed it down to, like, 4 rods, a couple 3,700 boxes, the plastics I needed, or heart
Right.
baits or jigs or whatever it may be, and, just lighten the load a little bit. Not only that, but, like, it gave me more room. Like, I'm in a new canoe unlimited, and it's a wide open deck, but, like, if you look at some of my pictures back in the day, there's, like, a big tackle box here, tackle there, rods laying across the deck, and it's just a hot mess when you land a fish, right? So,
Right.
I tried to clean that up a little bit, by, like, slimming down, and even still, like, it's funny because I used to load up with all that same crap when I fished the little river by my house. And I would use 2 rods the whole time I was out there, a bag of Ned rigs or Ned craws, and like a whopper plopper or something,
And then
in the summer.
you're spending half the day taking 8 rods out, going underneath things and doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got smart. I don't even like, if I go to fish the river, I don't even throw that crate in there. I may bring an extra rod just in case, and like limited amount of tackle because I know what I'm going to throw. I know what they're going to be eating, and and just keep it simple and lay the rods on the deck or in my rod stager or whatever, and it works. Versus
Right.
having all that crap on there. But
So here's a question for you. Because you travel sometimes and you take your kayak with you, when you travel, are you still taking
that's the
8
wrong
rods with you?
question. That's the wrong question to ask me, my man. I'm It's funny because like Dale Hollow, for instance, every year I go there, it seems like I bring more tackle, and I don't touch 95% of it. Like, I have those big Plano crates, like, with the wheels on them.
Oh, geez. Okay,
I
yeah.
think last time I was down at Dale Hollow, I had 4 or 5 of those things full of just tackle. Just tackle.
Yeah.
And part of that may have been, like, I didn't have the time to, like, go through it before I left the house, so I just threw it all in the truck. But, again, just stupid and pointless. Um, I remember there was one year, down there, we may have had a few adult beverages, and I just started handing out, "Oh, you need that? Here, I got it. Find it." And, like, I mean, everybody walked out of the house with some tackle, but, it was one, and, like, I've come to that realization, like, I always used to be like, "Oh, I need this. I need 3 bags of this, 4 bags of this, 6 bags of this, 2 bags of that," and just stock up. Like, if
Mhm.
you go to my tackle warehouse history, it's stupid. Um, Whereas now, like, I've learned, like, okay, yeah, there's going to be those certain scenarios where you need those certain things and stuff like that. But I've actually slimmed down quite a bit. So like I don't need a huge crate necessarily anymore. So like
Mhm.
I've kind of gone to some other things that I use, like for my plastics. Um, Lakewood makes the billfold,
Yeah.
which is like a mesh bag, perfect for. It's got some dividers in it, and they actually just came out with a bigger one. I may have 4 on order, but those are great. Those are great for your plastics. Instead of just having loose bags all over the place, and they
Yeah.
slide under your seat in probably 80% of the kayaks out there. You know what I mean? And you could fit quite a bit of soft plastics in there. Still gonna have my crate because I'm gonna have like I got 13700 box dedicated just to terminal tackle. I got like a Plano Edge. Um, I got one the Plano Edge jig box. I got one for cranks, one for jerk baits, one for top water, one for frogs, and one for something else. So like this time of year, obviously I don't need the frog box, so I'm leaving that at home. You know, I don't need the top water box. I'm leaving that at home. You know, like
Wait a minute. Don't negate the frog box because it's gonna start getting warmer already, so
well, yeah,
careful.
I'm in the Great White North, and by White North I mean snowy. Like we
Yes.
don't have any snow. It's actually 70 degrees here right now, but like it's going to be 40 degrees tomorrow. So that's what I'm living with.
Yeah.
You folks down south, I hate you because you've all been fishing for the year already. Like I keep seeing these photos pop up of like first bass of the year, seventh bass of the year, and I'm
Well,
like,
some of the I've gotta tell you, there's been a couple anglers out there that are out there in the snow still catching fish right now. Like, I'm like, okay,
yeah, I'm one of
they're
those
the
lazy
diehards.
guys. I'm one of those lazy guys. Granted, I've been on the road quite a bit. Like this was my first weekend home in a long time because I've been on the road since the first week of January for trade shows. But um, yeah, I had that itch, and I was like, man, I need to get out. I need to get out. So I I just pressure washed the kayak because it was full of marsh muck and maybe some deer blood and things like that from hunting season.
Yeah, but
So
that was an important trip.
yeah, well, I'm switching over now to get ready for fishing season, and yeah, getting my stuff in order. But
So as you've progressed and you've moved, like you kind of changed. You've gone from straight DIY kayak. Now you purchase a
mhm,
lot of your things, correct?
yeah, for the most
Yeah.
part, yeah.
Because
Few
one,
things I'll
it's
still
already
make.
it's already been done, it's already been developed, it's
Mhm.
already been taken care of, it's been practiced, tried and true already. You're just kind of going with it, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, One of the guys says, "Oh, Michael said it best over the past couple of weeks. Them Dewey baits have been giving him saving his week. They were chewing. So tell us a little bit. I'm gonna steal your thunder for steal Michael's thunder a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the Dewey baits and what's kind of like that new technology that's kind of going into those things.
Uh, Dewey, it's all about the plastisol. It's a custom plastisol that we have made specifically for us. Did a bunch of product testing on it all last year. Released it. Last a lot longer. Actually, I haven't even talked about this. So, we were at a trade
Hold
show
on, real quick.
last.
We have to do the exclusive. This is an exclusive, everybody.
We were at a trade show last weekend, and a consumer show actually. And a customer said, "Oh, can you uh, melt or weld your plastic back together?" And I was like, "That's a great question. I haven't tried." So I literally took a Ned rig, ripped it in half, took a lighter, held both ends under that lighter for, I don't know, maybe 6 seconds, stuck it back together, held it there for maybe 15 seconds, let it cool down. I couldn't rip it by pulling it this way unless I really tried to rip it. Um, so that's super unique too, is that welding back together. And we even took a hook and stuck a bunch of things and tried to reenact hooking a fish and uh, melted all that back together. which is huge. I know a lot of baits will do that, but our baits aren't so overloaded with salt where you almost can't do that. Like a Yamamoto, like it's virtually impossible to remelt that thing back together. Yeah, Brad Hurlboss in the chat, he said that I saw it. No more need for plastic glue. 100%. So that was actually something that we discovered just recently. But that plastic, super durable but super soft. It's not like it's a hard plastic or like that super dense, like some of those baits out there are, where they use that harder plastisol. Plus we got some unique colors, man. Like that's the biggest thing I've learned over this past trade show season is like one of the colors that was hot this year that you guys want to check out is our frosted animal cookie. It's basically a white pearl with a ton of flake. The color was made by complete accident, and everybody's like, I've never seen this. I need to try this.
Pull it up. Here we go.
And we were talking with a gentleman about it, and he's like, man, this looks like a molted craw, like when you really look at it. And we got it in all the different patterns, and we've been selling a lot of tubes in that pattern. If you click on that bait,
on which one?
Just click on that,
the rum shaker.
Yeah. Now if you go to that animal cookie in the drop down, it'll pull it up. That one right there is a new color, but you could probably try to like zoom in on that, Randy. There you go. But it's basically a white pearl with a ton of different colored glitter flakes.
Cool.
But yeah, that color has been selling like hotcakes. But it's one of those things. It's we just came out with lava, which is kind of like your fire craw, and then the demon, which is a laminate with that like fire craw orange and a green pumpkin black flake top. So those have been hot for that springtime season. So
there you go.
But yeah, man, it's all the colors, the plastisol, all that good stuff, man. But yeah, didn't mean to turn that into a Dubro.
No, it was a perfect segue because we don't get Mr. Brian too often on the show. So you know what? It was a perfect segue to pick his brain for a minute and put it in there.
Yeah.
So, but right now, give them the promotion you guys are doing for the month of March.
Oh yeah, it's buy 4 bags, get 1 free shipping on 65 or more. And I think there's still a code that works. I think it's PNF20, all caps.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. You said PNF20, correct?
Yes.
He's going to go and look now.
I could actually look, yeah. Pull it up on this other screen. But I'm pretty sure that's still out there and active. If not, I can make it active. I have that power, you know?
You have that power. But so the reason why we talked about the show, we kind of started because like Final Cast is kind of working its way and trying. It's been established in the industry. I've been in the industry for a while, so now we're going to start bringing up some like hard-hitting topics on Final Cast. That's the reason why the show is called Final Cast, is to start bringing up topics for individuals. So we're going to be bringing up tournament trails. We're going to be talking about anything, and it's not to talk about it in a negative light. It's to talk about everything in a positive light. That's what we're talking about here. Not to downgrade anybody, not to discourage anybody from using something different. It's always to encourage anglers to take every avenue that they need to move forward in the industry instead of stepping backwards. And so the reason why the Final Cast is here is to give you guys information. Brian brought us on board to provide us with everything that we need to do, and we're very excited for that. But I know Brian's got to get ready to go run over to his hobby show real quick. We type the code down in there. Go to dubrofishing.com and go to the Dewey Baits section and get in there.
Either one works.
Yeah, there's something in there for anybody, whether you're tube fishing, whether you're fishing for crawl, there's something in there for anybody. So go in there, make your most recent purchase and get caught up and use some really, 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 really good strong baits that aren't going to break your pocket. Right?
Yeah, man. Yep.
I always sidetrack him with the topic.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate you, Brian.
To that.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I always appreciate you.
We got a
And when you
delay.
come on the show, it's always great to have you. We're going to bring him on. We're going to do a full rundown. We're going to be at ICAST again this year. So if you want to come see the Dewey baits in hand and touch them, feel them, make a purchase in a long order, come and see us at ICAST, and we will be there in the booth. Trust me, we'll have all the colors that you can come and take a look at, and you can see them and touch them for the first time.
Yeah, and we got new dealers opening up all across the country. I know one of our most recent ones this week. Their order is going out this week in West Virginia. I know what's his face is out there. A couple other guys. I'm trying to find it. Wild Outdoor Sporting Goods, and they're in Gauley Bridge, West Virginia. So, yeah, just watch the shelves for it.
There you go. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you coming on, and have a great rest of your next show. Which when
Yeah.
you do it, when you do a hobby show, what is that like?
It's a lot different. I'm obviously not the guy talking a bunch. I just mainly run things, but I do it with a really cool dude, Joshua Orchard. Obviously, Dubrow Fishing. We also own Dubrow RC and Pine Ridge Archery. So it's kind of unique. It's different. I'm actually building a RC plane myself because of this whole class that we're doing. So I've always been like an RC geek on the car and truck side. I've never known anybody in the airplane side, so I'm actually kind of digging it and getting into it. It's something different, you know.
That's cool.
Doesn't mean I'm going to stop fishing or kayak fishing or whatever else. I'll still be here, but yeah,
It's a next second hobby, something to get addicted to, right?
I'm not going to lie. I've started that plane back in December. And I haven't gotten very far just because I've been so busy. But
Well, yeah.
by summer, it'll be done. I guarantee that.
All I got to say is, by summer, will we be able to see it when we're in ICAST and you can fly it around?
I won't bring it to ICAST just because then I won't have room for all my tackle that I overpack.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a
But
logical reason.
I'll have pictures and videos. Actually, the first time I fly it, I'll probably crash it. So I'll definitely have video. Then I got to start all over again, you know?
Well, then you've recreated the wheel. You got to do it all over again, right?
Exactly.
That's like that's why when you buy a new kayak, you have to recreate the wheel and do it all over again.
Exactly.
That's our downfall, right? That's what we do.
For sure.
Thank you again. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no sweat, man. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, brother. Thank you very much.
See you, buddy.
It's always great to have Brian on the show. When we do get to have Brian on the show, it's always awesome. So when you do get a chance, go over to dubrowfishing.com, go to the Dewey Baits section, get your 5 bags, get that free shipping, get your discount in there. PNF 20 is out there now that you can use, and you should be able to get a little bit more off on your cart. Going back to what we were talking about, when you start in the industry, you're always going to look for options to make things a little bit easier and a little bit cheaper for you. If you do the DIY route, you're going to save some money. But at the same time, remember what I said at the beginning, sometimes if you buy cheap, you buy twice. A lesson that I've learned over the past 16 years. If you do that, you're going to save some money too, because then you don't have to go back and fix the things that you've kind of cheaply done before. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Make sure you go and do that. I want to thank everybody for coming on board for the show tonight. Remember, Dale Hollow's coming up in April. You want to get there, Tourney X, $100 down right now. You can get signed up for that tournament. There's a contingent coming from Tennessee. West Virginia is coming down to that event, and it will be a great opportunity to not only fish, but hang out with a bunch of amazing anglers. As always, this is the final cast, but it isn't always the final cast. Enjoy your weekend. We look forward to see you guys again. Have a great time out on the water. And remember, wear your PFD.